giving me this. Okay. What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And today I am joined by my good friend, Michael Darcy of KC Sports Report. It has been a while, Michael, since we've gotten together to talk about Chiefs football, and a lot has happened. But the topic that I wanted to talk about today, and one that a lot of Chiefs fans have been talking about over the last several weeks, is the progression of rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy. And after what a lot of people would call a rough outing against the Las Vegas Raiders, in which he really struggled to get his hands on the football and hold on to the football, a lot of people are a little bit skeptical of the workload that the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to give him, and they're maybe a little bit skeptical if the Chiefs took the right guy in the NFL draft at wide receiver, Michael. So we're going to start it off with this, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. When it comes to Xavier Worthy, would you say that he's performed above expectations, below expectations, or right at expectations, in your opinion? Do you think Kansas City Chiefs fans maybe had too high of expectations for him?
I think he absolutely kind of fits the expectations that I had for him. I think you got to understand that Andy Reid does not just open up the offense to a rookie. Rashee Rice is the only guy that breaks that mold. You can go back to Mecole Hardman. You can go back to Tyreek Hill. You can go back to Sky Moore. I mean, Sky Moore is a dumpster, but you've seen in the past that even capable wide receivers don't have an immediate impact in this offense. And Xavier Worthy's got the talent. I think he could absolutely be a phenomenal wide receiver in the future, but he's kind of performing like a rookie wide receiver in a very complex offense. So I think he kind of fits the expectations, at least for me. Now, that's not saying that he couldn't improve later on in the season as more of a role gets opened up to him. I mean, you have all these wide receiver injuries. It's only a matter of time before Xavier Worthy, steps up. But I do think that he's kind of fit my expectations. And if anything, he's had more touchdowns than I thought that he would have. So I'm very pleasantly surprised with Xavier Worthy, considering I didn't really have many expectations going into this season.
I think it's important to remember the fact that when he was drafted, the Kansas City Chiefs thought they were going to have Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice, and they also signed Juju Smith-Schuster right before the season. All guys that we expected to contribute in this offense and veterans with a lot of experience, and the Kansas City Chiefs really value that. So a realistic stat line for Xavier Worthy was always going to be something like what Mecole Hardman did in his rookie year. Now, that might scare a lot of Chiefs fans just because we know what Mecole Hardman ultimately turned out to be, but I think a lot of us are a lot more excited about Xavier Worthy's potential and think that his ceiling is a lot higher, especially if you just look at what he did in college, because when the Kansas City Chiefs took Mecole Hardman out of the NFL draft, he had only played the wide receiver position for 2 years. Xavier Worthy stepped in at Texas as a freshman and made all Big 12 team, and he was productive all throughout college. I mean, he was a star wide receiver in college. Now, of course, the NFL is a different game, and I just think you're seeing a natural adjustment period there, Michael, because, the hits come a little bit faster after you catch the football, whereas, at Texas in college, after you catch the football, you might not make contact with a defender until, another 5 yards after getting the football, and I think Xavier Worthy is still adjusting to that. And I also think people are kind of they forgot the kind of player Xavier Worthy was when the Chiefs took him. He's not a contested catch guy, first of all. There was a contested catch situation against the Raiders in which the Chiefs needed a first down. They were backed up on their own side of the field. Patrick Mahomes targets Xavier Worthy, and it somewhat hits him in the hands, and he can't get the catch. He can't hold on to the ball. But, Xavier Worthy's not a contested catch guy, Michael. I mean, that's just kind of something that you're going to have to overlook when it comes to Xavier Worthy. And the Chiefs traditionally don't throw contested catches in their offense either. I think you're going to start to see Xavier Worthy come along here in the latter half of the season, because this is kind of how it was with Rashee Rice too. I mean, Michael, in the first 7 or 8 games or so last year, a lot of us were thinking like, man, Rashee Rice just kind of looks like a gadget guy that can't really catch the ball all that consistently. And I actually saw this stat on Twitter. Rice at this time last year had 305 yards and 3 touchdowns. Worthy is at 282 yards combined and 5 touchdowns. And Lance the Spoken also pointed out that Xavier Worthy is on pace for 12 touchdowns this year. So let's just say, Michael, Xavier Worthy is to match his production from the first half of the season and the second half of the season, that would put him right around 600 yards and 12 touchdowns. That's a fantastic rookie season.
That's incredible. Listen, I came into the season thinking if he had 3 touchdowns and 400 yards, he surpassed my expectations, especially because we thought we had Rashee Rice, we thought we had Hollywood Brown, and we thought, that we had enough at the wide receiver position that it wasn't going to be on the shoulders of Xavier Worthy. And so I would have absolutely signed up for that. Now, circumstances change, but you got to be pretty thrilled with the fact that he's already been a big producer in this offense. And you don't win that Chargers game without Xavier Worthy. He had that big touchdown catch, and then, of course, the catch at the end of the game to seal it. But I really do think that he's been a very solid rookie, considering that Andy Reid does not, use rookies all that much. He's made an impact in this offense, and it's clearly not a very easy offense to understand because you got guys like Mecole Hardman and, Sky Moore that have been in it multiple years. They're not having this kind of impact.
Well, and that's what has me still extremely optimistic about Xavier Worthy is he's doing things that we haven't seen guys in this offense do in their entire tenure, several years. I mean, you mentioned that touchdown that he had against the Chargers. Last year, Rashee Rice did not have his first catch of 20 or more yards through the air until week 17 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Xavier Worthy is already doing that. We've seen him do things in this offense that only work because of his speed. And I think it's easy to forget that. I mean, the Chiefs drafted one of the fastest players in the NFL in this past draft, and he's already producing probably a little bit more than I expected. I think part of the issue here, though, is that because of the injuries, we're expecting more from him, and that just was never fair to begin with. It wasn't fair to Rashee Rice last year when the Chiefs did it because he was the only dependable guy they had. It's not fair this year for Xavier Worthy because of all the injuries they've had. Luckily with Rashee Rice, it just happened to work out, and the Chiefs kind of sped along his progression. But I don't think they want to do the same thing with Xavier Worthy, and that's why they went out and traded for DeAndre Hopkins, which we haven't talked about all that much yet. But I think Xavier Worthy is right on track, Michael, and he still even had some positive moments in this past Raiders game. I mean, that touchdown in the flats that Andy Reid schemed up for him to build his confidence going forward, I think that was really nice because, again, the speed to get to the corner there is not an ability that a lot of guys on this roster have.
Well, I think that they should give him more manufactured targets. If you remember last year, they really started to force feed Rashee Rice, even those little quick screen passes to get him, off and running. I think that would be very beneficial for Xavier Worthy. Kind of give him some good blocking and let him have some manufactured targets. Just get him some catches, and it helps him get more ingrained in the offense quicker because this Chiefs team might need him come playoff time. So I think absolutely in a wide receiver room that hasn't been all that good, you should manufacture more targets to get Xavier Worthy involved because who knows if one of those screen passes goes for 40 yards or goes for a touchdown because he just is so fast.
Yeah, it only takes a few plays to change the narrative, really. I mean, if next game he comes out and he has a 60-yard touchdown and adds another touchdown on the ground, 15 yards rushing or whatever, people are like, oh my gosh, Xavier Worthy's having an incredible rookie season so far. He's already been pretty productive. And again, is probably performing above expectations that I had for him. Coming into the year, I said, 500, 600, 700 yards, best case scenario. You sprinkle in a couple deep touchdowns here and there. That's exactly what he's doing now. That's what he's on pace for right now.
Yeah, and you have to be so thrilled with this if you're a Chiefs fan because we've seen wide receivers come in this system and not produce. And so the fact that he's showing this much promise so early on in his career, I think that's a very encouraging sign. And listen, you still probably need to go out and draft the wide receiver next year, but you've got a really nice piece in Xavier Worthy that as long as you keep getting him involved, he's not going to just wilter away. He's got something you just can't teach in that speed, and his route running's pretty darn good. I will say that right now. He's not somebody that's going to go out and moss anybody for a contested catch, but he is someone that Andy Reid can absolutely use to perfection in this Chiefs offense.
Well, and another thing too that, has anyone else considered that maybe because of all the injuries they've had so far, they're trying to avoid giving Xavier Worthy such a heavy workload? He's 5'11", 170 pounds, Michael. Maybe the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to protect him a little bit so they actually have somebody by the time they get to the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this earlier. If DeAndre, I always get DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams just confused a little bit. But if DeAndre Hopkins gets hurt before the playoffs, this Chiefs team is screwed. Like they have nobody else. Are you going to throw Sky Moore out there when he comes back from his core muscle injury that he just had surgery on today? You're going to have Mecole Hardman have a legacy playoff career? That's not going to happen. You need Xavier Worthy to be healthy come playoff time because he could change the game with one catch.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I said before the season, usually with players that are going to contribute in the future, you see those flashes with them pretty early on. You see those players that make you go, wow, like this guy has special ability. We've seen plenty of that from Xavier Worthy so far. I mean, he's doing just fine. I mean, how many times did we sit there with Sky Moore through the first 2 years of his career and go, so when are we going to see the moment that like we can sell people on with Sky Moore? Like when you tell people Sky Moore is going to be a good player, what's the moment? What's the game that you show them? There wasn't one. There's already been some of those with Xavier Worthy in the first several games of his career.
Well, and already he hasn't done anything overly negative. The only thing that, I would say is a negative is that he just hasn't produced enough, given that there aren't any other wide receivers in front of him, really, other than DeAndre Hopkins. But I feel like you don't have that sentiment of, dude, he just can't return punts. He just cannot return kicks. He's dropping the football. You don't have that mindset when you're talking about Xavier Worthy when you did about Sky Moore in his rookie season. So, yeah, you're right. There aren't the same level of concerns because he hasn't really given you a reason to be concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, not only is he helping you in the receiving game, but he's helping you on the ground as well, kind of making up some of those yards on the ground for you when moving the ball on offense. So I just think he's a rookie. He's doing fine. He's had his plays here or there. Yeah, there are games where he's relatively quiet. There's some things that he might need to clean up. He might need to clean up the hands a little bit, but I think that will all come in due time. And I'll say it again, with Rashee Rice last year, we thought he couldn't catch. I mean, he was like dropping wide open passes if there was a defender within 5 yards of him. And I think there's an adjustment period for that. And the game is just faster in the NFL, and it takes time to adjust. That's all it is.
Absolutely. And listen, considering the fact that we saw Rashee Rice come on in like week 9 or 10, give it a couple more weeks. Just let him have a couple more weeks in the offense. Let him kind of take the number 2 role behind DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to be this team's legit number 1. But sometimes just having that guy that you can go to for mentorship and just not having to be fully relied on as a rookie is a very positive thing.
Yep, couldn't agree more, Michael. I think we can go ahead and wrap it up there. I don't think either of us are necessarily worried about Xavier Worthy, so Chiefs Kingdom can relax just a little bit. And hopefully you do feel a little bit better after watching this video. But Michael, before we sign off, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report. That is the one-stop shop for everything. I've been posting stuff each and every single day. It's been 2 videos a day recently. So if you guys want to see some more Chiefs content, definitely head over there. But also subscribe to Josh's channel. We're doing stuff each and every single week covering this Kansas City Chiefs team as they try to three-peat.
Yep, and that will all be in the description down below, guys, so go and check it out. Michael has been putting in that work lately. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this video, and we will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.